There's your top cover. There's the rest of the parts. But evidently, she didn't listen to me. I told her to leave it raw, and evidently she didn't. So I'm sorry. I know we discussed leaving it raw, but I guess it's going to be black. But overall, they're powder coated. They look decent. They're going to go on the car at some point. Started laying out the X-Mat, and then realized I didn't put the body plugs in yet. Luckily, nothing had been stuck down yet. Was figuring out which is going to be the best way, whether to lay it long ways to the tunnel or backwards to make it all fit. Like I said, I want to cut the channel out where the wiring harness runs, so that way it's not stuck to the wiring harness. So if you ever got to get into it again, it's accessible instead of cutting and pulling all that up to get to it. You know, it's an older car. You never know what's going to happen with the wiring and this and that. So just a precaution. Body plugs are in now. Seam sealer, yay. Body plugs are in. We will wipe down the floor tomorrow with some prep sol and start laying the, that's the next project we're going to attempt. Mass cylinder has been bled and installed, and the lines and everything hooked up. Hooked up some of the wiring, hooked up throttle cable, sensors. There's some wiring back there. I reinstalled the windshield wiper motor and everything I had to remove to get that brake booster in and out. Plug wires are back on. Just a lot of little stuff was done to get it closer to starting. Next major thing is I got to fix that one line that's bent and get the radiator put back in it. Got a couple other things to hook up. From there, we can start getting the interior put back in it. Get the carpeting put in, get the seats put back in. Well, going to do some other stuff before we put the seats in, but I want the carpeting in to lay on for padding while I work under the dash. So, but we can get the back panels in, get the back seat in. Well, the upper part of the back seat. You can get the panels, the door panels. There's a lot of other stuff that can happen and get this car closer to being done. I went off book like I normally do. I did not like the way it was coming out. When you had the flap over it, it was sitting so high. With this is still sitting higher than the sound deadening. And, you know, I didn't want that on top of that. I think it'll be fine. So I went off book. If it's not fine, we'll fix it. But this is a good start. I think I got enough to do one more sheet up and over the back. And then do the same over there. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Sticks down good. Looks good. Definitely going to keep heat and some sound out of the car, I would like to think. I also ran a bunch of speaker wire and a new power wire for the fuel pump back there. And it's inside that harness up to there. So that way it's all out of the way. It's one harness, no extra wires. We're going to look at my ugly mug for a minute and build the suspense of how bad of a job I really did do. We're going to call this X-Mat from Eastwood Company, sound deadening, whatever you want to call it, done. It's in the car. There's a few areas where it's a little rough, but there are also areas that don't matter. They're under the carpeting in front of the console and this and that. But overall, I'm happy with the way it came out for my first time doing it. Which, this wasn't hard. Clean it, cut and paste, make a few pieces fit, especially around hard edges. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So, we're sitting on the passenger side right now. Like I said, you get up in here. It's a little rough up in here, but it's not too bad. And I could spend hours trying to piece it in, but I'm not going to. You know, shifter holes open, shifter mount, center console mount. I could probably fill that in, and I might later. But overall, we went up to about where the line is, where the rubber is there, and then the sound deadener, not sound deadener, but the insulation is over there in the plastic piece. And pretty much all the way to the back seat. All the way across, kind of behind both braces. Like I said, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And yeah, that's kind of the leftover chunks and pieces and my prep sol and the shifter, because I wanted to make sure the shifter could sit on its throne without being bothered by this. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And now by the magic of the pause button, we teleported to the driver's side. That one was a little rougher. We had to get around the dimmer switch. I may still have to trim that just a little bit to get that plugged back in. You know, you got the wiring harness on this side. And then there's a plastic piece I got to reinstall that goes up there. That's wiring harness for the console. And like I said, it's pieced in. Not perfect, but it's good enough. Definitely going to be way better than it was before. This all laid out really good. You know, we had to go around this and the wiring harness, because if I ever have to dig into it, I don't want to dig all this stuff up. So, and I think it'd leave a big bump there anyway. So we got all that done, all laid out. Like I said, I'm really happy. Even kind of tucked into there a little bit with what I got. I could piece some more stuff in, but that's a lot of work for a little advantage. But overall, it comes out good. So next step is to put a carpet in it. And then got to pull the dash, change all the lights. We're going to put a aftermarket radio in it. Today we're working on the 69 again. I've already got the rear carpet fitted. Got all the holes punched through for the bolts. You can't see it right now, but I cut the front of this out for the shifter. That's why it's laying there. And got it fitted in there pretty good. We're working on fitting the front. I'm not having as much fun with this front one, but we're working on it. We're trying to get it to go. There's a plastic piece down in there that bolts in that I prematurely installed that I have to uninstall because that indention on the carpet goes underneath of it. So we got to get that done and get this all fitted and then cut out for the shifter, because, well, we're going to have to cut a lot of it out for the shifter. But we're going to try to keep as much, so maybe try to keep that outer edge or whatever together. We're going to see. We're working on getting this fitted in. You know, we're trying to make this all fit the way it needs to. It just takes time, you know, and I keep referencing back to my car because my car is sitting right over here. And I have a less expensive, and I actually bought mine used. I actually got it for free from a guy, but that's a whole nother subject. Back when I was broke. Not that I have money now, but I was like brokey broke back then, teenager. It was given to me. It's a lower end one. It was already pre-cut. It already fit. All the seatbelt holes were in it. The factory seat holes were in it, but I used different mounts for my racing buckets. And I had to cut it for my roll bar, but we made it fit. And it don't fit too bad, but it's not a two-piece. It's not a two-piece where it's got a ridge here in the center like that one is. It doesn't have as nice of a mat for your foot as that one does. That one's more factory, but this one works. It's just a race car, or a wannabe race car, really. And so we're just comparing the best we can to this, like how the sill plates fit, how the seat fits, you know. I was trying to compare that mat, but there is no comparison on the mat. I think this whole thing needs to shift forward. I may have to trim it up there a little bit. I'm not sure yet. So we're just going to keep working on this and see how it comes out. Continuing, we put that back in on top of the carpet. Your dimmer switch, which doesn't have a grommet for it, so it's just kind of cut in there. Overall, I'm fairly happy. There's a little bunch there, which no matter what I do, I can't get out. I got to pull the carpet a little more that way. I got your seat bolts cut out on this side. Like I said, I want to pull some more that way, try to get it to fit a little better. No matter what I do, the shifter mounts literally right here. So we're going to have to cut this whole back edge off and, you know, kind of open it up a little bit to mount the shifter. I'm going to try to leave as much of it intact. Unlike the one carpet you have where they just cut the whole center out. I'm going to try to leave as much carpet intact because the console's going to go over it, and it'll help hold its shape better. But, you know, that's a little later down the line. I want to try to get that side squared up a little better. Got to trim this a little more. But overall, it's starting to fit. I mean, it's slow, but we're making progress. It's starting to come together, I think. Slowly. I mean, it seems like it's going a lot faster now than it has in other days, but it's starting to come together as a project. Yes, we're going to go backwards because we're going to pull that out, change all the light bulbs, you know, back behind there. We're going to install stereo, get that all wired in. So we're going to go backwards to go forwards, but we're going in the right direction no matter what. Even if we're going backwards for a day, we're still going forward. We're more forward than we've been in a long time. So car's going to look more and more complete. We're hiding all that work. Yeah, that's what we knew was going to happen. So we're going to keep working on, you want to get that other side over there trimmed up, cleaned up, moved over a little bit more. Hopefully this will lay a little flatter. Then we'll cut it out, get the shifter in. And then once we can mount the shifter permanently, then I can put the shifter cable on, work on a couple other things to make the car at least hopefully movable again. I need to get the powers wired in, so when I do the radio, I can check powers, make sure everything works. If I got to run an accessory power, I have no clue what that blue wire is. It comes from the dash from the passenger side. The red wire is your fuel pump. Along with that red wire, speaker wire, all that goes to the stereo. That's all underneath the carpeting to the back. You can see it peeking out there. So it's coming together. That's the long and the short of it. It's slowly coming together. I've been kind of slacking on doing videos on this car because I'm trying to get it done. This 69 convertible I've been working on. Put a lot of work into getting stuff done. We're going both directions with this car. We've been doing a lot of installing stuff for the final time, which is one of the best things that can happen because it means we're getting done. Because a lot of this stuff is went in, come out for fitting, especially like the back seat and stuff. But back seat is in for the final time. You know, we had to put the mounts for the back seat mount, and then for the back of the back seat mount, all of that's covered up now. But I had no pictures, if not videos of the other. I'm not sure what all I have done. And then the full interior is in it, in the back, all the sides, the seat. The new seat belts that the customer bought. That's the duct work for under the dash because, well, we're doing dash lights. You can see the bulbs laying down there. I installed a radio in it for them. That's why the center vent is out, so I can get to everything, get all that done. We're working on, you know, getting everything. Carpets in. I don't know if I took video of that. He bought the new kick panels, which we have to clean and dye yet, but those are with the speakers. So I'll have speakers there, and then he's going to mount or make some kind of mount or something, put some 6x9s in the back there. I guess that's his plan. I'm not sure. As you can see, the interior lights are even on. It's not fully done, but the interior lights are on with new LEDs finally in there. So this thing's going to be nice and bright. The center console's got lights in it. That's not plugged in yet. We're still working on that. Just trying to plug away at this thing. You know, we got the 403 in here. That's the radiator cover. It hasn't been installed because the radiator's not in. And we got a lot of it hooked back up, you know, wiring wise and stuff. And we just, there's a long punch list of stuff to finish. And a lot of it is just little time consuming stuff. And we're going to work on it one piece at a time. You know, we got a new trans pan for it. We got a shift kit for it we got to put in. Just a lot of little things and just keep plugging away at it, trying to get it done. I'm going to try to do some more videos with my GoPro and stuff. That hopefully now me and it are on speaking terms. But the long and short of it is I'm trying to knock this car out and get it done. They'd like to have it back. They're not being like, oh, I need my car. It's just I want to get it done. I want them to enjoy it this summer. I mean, I know it's only March and it's literally been spitting snowflakes outside. So they're not driving it tomorrow, but we've had some really nice 60-degree days recently and up and down in the 50s. It's spring. It's going to come that they're going to want to enjoy their car, and I want them to enjoy their car. So we're trying to get it done. There's a lot of little things, like I said, and it's just time. It all adds up to time, you know. Doing little things like even the light bulbs, the radio, all the little small things, but to make it nice, to make it enjoyable for them. And when it's done, that's the point. Enjoy it, you know. And we're going to keep plugging away at this, and then